Hey, what's up? I'm Farhad from FNet Tech Academy, and today's video is going to show you how to download and install MySQL Server on a Windows device. Now, if you are watching this in 2025, MySQL actually relies on certain libraries from Microsoft Visual Studio. So even before you can download and install MySQL, first you need to download and install Microsoft Visual Studio 2019. So head over to your favorite browser. I have Google Chrome open and type this out, Microsoft Visual Studio 2019 redistributable download. And I'm going to select the top one. Make sure you're accessing a link that actually takes you to Microsoft.com and not some other website. Right? So this one takes me to learn.microsoft.com. So let's go ahead and select this. And from here, we're going to select the latest Microsoft Visual C++ redistributable version. And over here, you'll see different download options depending on your processor. So you have ARM64, 86, and 64. If you're not sure which version you're supposed to download, on a Windows device, all you have to do is select your Windows menu, go to System, and from here, you can actually see your processor, your system type. So you can see on mine, it says 64-bit operating system. So I'm going to select the one that says 64. We'll wait for that to download and then open it up. Cool. And we're going to agree to the license terms and conditions without reading them, and then click on install. All right, I sped that up because it took a couple of minutes, but once it's done, you'll have to restart your device. And then once you're booted back up, then we can download and install MySQL. Okay, now that we have the Visual Studio redistributable downloaded, let's go back to downloading MySQL. So in your browser, go ahead and type out MySQL. And again, we're going to select the first link. It should take you directly to mysql.com. So let's select this. And from here, click on Downloads. And if we scroll down, we're not going to install the Enterprise Edition. Instead, if we scroll down a little bit further, we'll select MySQL Community Downloads. And then from here, select MySQL Community Server. And we'll keep this selection. It's going to be 9.2, which is the latest version of MySQL Community Server at the time that we're recording this. We're going to make sure our operating system is selected, which is Microsoft Windows. And then again, we have a couple of different options for our installation. We have this Windows MSI installer and then a zip archive. Generally, if you're only running one instance of MySQL Server on a device, I usually stick with the MSI installer. I generally only install the zip drives the zip files if I want to run multiple instances of MySQL Server on a device. So for our purpose, we're going to stick with this MSI installer. We'll click on download. And we're not going to sign up for anything. We'll just click on no thanks, just start the download. And once that's ready, on the top right, we'll select that download button and then open up that MSI file. All right, click on next, accept the terms and license agreement, go to next. And from here, let's install the complete package. Then click on install. And that should be it for the installation. From here, we'll click on finish. And then from here, we should be able to select on the MySQL configuration. We'll go to next. And we'll keep this installed in the program data folder as well as MySQL and then MySQL Server 9.2. Go to next. This takes us to the menu where we can make some networking configurations. So we can, we're not actually going to change anything here. We want to stick with TCP/IP Port 3306 is the default port that's used by MySQL Server. Even when you deploy software into a cloud platform like AWS, you're probably still going to stick with port 3306 for your database server. Right, let's go to next. At this point, you'll select the password. So when you start using MySQL, you have a root user, and then you have a password for that root user. For most people, this doesn't need to be as secure as something like a banking password. If somebody has access to your device, you probably have larger concerns than them using your MySQL database. So I'm going to keep my password simple. It's just going to be password 123. And then we'll go to next. And this is going to ask us if we want to immediately start our MySQL server at the time that we start up our system. I'm going to keep that selected because MySQL server doesn't actually take up very much space and it doesn't slow down your device. Especially if you're going to be developing software often, this is something I'm just going to keep on running. From here, we'll go to next, next again. If this is your first time using MySQL Server, it might be a good idea to actually create a couple of sample databases just so you can see what those look like. And then we'll go to next. All right, and then from here, we're just going to select the execute button so that it'll actually apply all these configurations. All right, I sped it up, but it took about a minute. From here, we're going to click on next, and we're done. Configuration has been completed, so we'll click on finish. All right, at this point, we have downloaded and installed MySQL Server. Let's verify that it has been installed by testing it out briefly. So we're going to open up the Windows icon and go to All Applications. And then from here, if I scroll down to MySQL, I select this. So the software comes with a command line client that'll allow us to actually run MySQL commands directly from this command line. So here we'll enter the password for our root user that we had set up, password 123 for me. And there it is. So if you get this feedback that says MySQL, now you know that it's been installed successfully. One more thing that would be nice to have is some kind of a UI tool where we can actually visualize the database that we're working with and the data that we're working with. And we can use MySQL Workbench to handle that for us. So let's actually also install MySQL Workbench. Having a command line where we can run our MySQL statements is great. It would be nice to also have some kind of a graphic user interface where we can actually visualize the data that we're working with and the databases that we're using. So let's actually also install MySQL Workbench. So again, I'm going to come back to my browser, click that plus, and we're going to search for, again, MySQL. Oops. There we go. That's what I meant. And select that first link again. Make sure you're going to mysql.com. Again, click on downloads. And then we'll scroll down, go to MySQL Community Downloads. And this time, we're going to select MySQL Workbench. And this time we only have one option here, which is the Windows 86 and 64-bit installer. And we'll click on download. Again, we'll just select no thanks, start my download. Once that's downloaded, let's open that up and begin the installation. Here we'll go to next, next. And we're going to stick with the complete version. From here, go to next, and go ahead and install. Cool, once that's done, we'll click on finish, and make sure you've selected Launch MySQL Workbench now. Once that's up, let's go ahead and double click where it says local instance MySQL 92. And this is going to ask us for our password for our root user, password 123. and continue anyway. At this point, we could run commands directly from here. We can say show databases to take a look at our existing databases. And this icon here will allow us to execute whatever statement our cursor is on. So if I run this, we can now see our databases that we've created. I'm going to create another database. Let's say create database, and we'll call it school just to test this out really quick. And run that. And then let's use that database. So we'll say use school. All right, and then let's create some data in it. So let's create a table. Let's call it users. And we'll say ID, which is an integer. They'll have a first name, first underscore name that's of type varchar, 255 characters, and a last underscore name that's also of type varchar, 255, and that's it. Let's run this. And then let's create a user. We'll say insert into users. ID is 1, first name is Farhad, and last name is Ahmed. Let's run this. And at this point, we should be able to select star from users. And we should now see the user that we have in that table. There we go. All right, at this point, we've downloaded and installed MySQL Server as well as MySQL Workbench and confirmed that it's working. I highly recommend that you check out the video on MySQL and how it works. If you're enjoying these videos, please do click the like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.